Welcome to the Black Men Think podcast. If this is your first time here, know that the views and opinions expressed by the Black Men Think podcast are those of the Black Men Think podcast and not the individual members. With that being said, we're about to be unapologetically, undeniably black. Enjoy.
All right, hey, welcome to the Black Man Think podcast, where we elevate our black men because black men be out here thinking.
Thank you.
As you can see, we have a full house tonight.
Yes, sir.
We do.
Special guests.
Not even.
I mean, actually, it's home team.
Original. But it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So we need to reintroduce them.
There you go. So started for you, Tori. You kick it off.
This is your boy T Mac in the building.
All right, I'm last name good. To my left, I got.
Yeah, I'm in Motown.
From Detroit.
I know, right?
Edit that.
The brother is not from Detroit.
I'm Motown. Look, Google me.
There you go.
Your boy Uptown. Chris up.
Welcome back in the building,
Welcome
baby.
back.
Yes, sir.
Kennesaw's finest.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we got a new Kennesaw Ike. A Kennesaw.
Yes, sir.
Kennesaw.
Kennesaw.
It sounds crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm just Corey, that's all.
Yeah.
What?
Corey.
Just Corey?
Corey.
Since when?
Just now.
Pimpin' since been pimping.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about that later.
All right. So look, make sure y'all subscribe, comment, rate, review, do all of the good stuff. That's the business of the pod. And also, if you want to call and leave a voicemail, 404-939-6477. If you want to be on the podcast and we can hear some good conversations from our listeners. So, join Patreon because as you can see, we going to be doing a lot of craziness.
Yeah.
On the pod. Well, these are just brotherhood right here that you don't know. So,
do we have a voicemail for this week? Or
no, I don't have a voicemail.
Time.
Yeah. So, sip of the week.
Mm-hmm.
What we got?
Introduce us?
Oh man, look, this is Whistle Pig.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Okay.
for all your bourbon drinkers, whiskey. We got Whistle Pig 6.
Okay.
Smooth ride. This is nice. Yeah.
All right.
Whistle Pig?
Salute.
Waiting on that check. Thank you.
Salute.
All right, we can take them off the table then.
Indeed.
Enough product
Send the
placement.
check and we'll leave you right there.
Yeah, you'll be there for the whole episode.
For the whole episode. All right, so you know how we start this off, man. Homeboy checking in with everybody, see how everybody good doing. You know what I mean? This is the midway. These are midterms, bro. So how everybody doing, bro? 2025, we
Halfway done.
halfway
July,
done.
ain't it, bro?
Yeah, it is.
Your birthday month, my dude.
Yeah, it's a birthday month.
Yeah.
It is.
You turning up?
Oh, always.
Okay.
And forever.
All right, the 21st?
26.
No.
But we gonna start on
no.
yeah, I got you. I knew what you were saying there. Yes, the 21st.
Okay. All right.
Indeed.
All right.
I see you there.
I'm just gonna say if I pop
Yeah.
up, just
Don't say nothing. Just let them in. Just let them in.
Let them use
let
it.
me in.
Let them
What
use
you doing? I'm here.
I'm there. Yeah.
Well, I kick us off. This first 6 months have been enlightening, I would say. That's the word I'm going to use. Enlightening from the perspective of, we're all now at this age to where we can't waste time no more. It's about I'm about making definitive decisions, not just professionally but personally. Things I'm gonna do, things I'm not gonna do. I think we've talked about on past episode how through therapy. So guys, please, if you need a therapist, get out there and get one. I'm discovering who I am in my age now, and really uncovering some of the trauma that we as black men have experienced from childhood to now, right? And really walking into this new phase of life of who I am.
Yeah.
And so as a part of that, I don't waste time. And so, I make decisions now that's based off on where I feel I want to go. And I have to even tell myself when I'm talking to my wife, like, it's not that I'm not discounting you, but I have been discounting myself for so long that now I'm putting me at the forefront so that I can help, so it can better me to support us moving forward. And so it's just really been me looking introspectively and just reflecting on these last 41 years of my life, and as I'm embarking upon this next year of my life, it's like, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I not gonna do? And so that's really where I've been focusing on. Definitely this last 2 weeks or so, just as we're realizing, like, hey, this year has been flying by, and so it's really about being more deliberate about things that's important. And what I want to focus on definitely this last 6 months of the year is family and me.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank.
Low-key, I ain't never heard a man, let alone a black man, like, say that. Like, as direct as it can be. Like, me.
Got to.
Yeah.
That's special.
No, it's important, man. I think too, some of the things that we fail to do as black men is focus on us, because we've been raised to take care of the home.
Yep.
Right. By any means necessary.
Any means.
You know what I mean? Whether that's, financially or even, spiritually. We've always been taught, like, hey, head of household, take care of home. But the thing that we don't talk about a lot is taking care of ourselves.
Yep.
Right. And that's mentally, physically, spiritually. If we don't take care of us, it's almost damn near impossible to take care of the home. You know what I'm saying? So,
Facts.
Yeah, 100%.
Hearing you say that, man, that's important. I don't want people to pass over that, because, bruh, there are so many times where we just go through life, like, we get into that rat race and we just get to moving, and we don't realize, like, bro, you didn't take the time to take care of you at all, right? And so, yeah, man, take care of yourself, even if that means being selfish at some point. You just gotta, like, hey, I'm doing this for me, whatever that looks like, make sure you take care of yourself. So, I'm rocking with that for sure.
Yeah. I will only add, I appreciate what you said, Tori. You said enlightening for this first half of the year, and I'd say illuminating for me. This year has been very illuminating on all of the obvious levels. There are a lot of things going on politically, a lot of things going on socially, a lot of things going on geopolitically, and it has further illuminated what has gone on. So, like, let's think about the sun, right? Like, there are shadows in certain corners at any given moment just because there's light not shining on it. But it doesn't take away what was always in that corner.
Right.
Right? Like, there might have been a book, there might have been a chair, there might have been something in that corner the whole time, but the light's not shining on it. So then when the light shines, you're like, oh, I didn't realize that was over there. Yeah. We're in a moment right now where things are being illuminated and we're being reminded of a lot of things. So I'm just going to say that at that clip, the further to this point of focusing on us as black men and ensuring we are whole, it's really important. This is a kind of a fine point. Yeah. Like, shout out to my wife. She has been telling me a lot in the last probably year, 8-10 months, that stop being hard on yourself.
No, that's a message.
Giving me the space to tell my own self, stop being hard on yourself. Because if I'm not treating myself the right way, like, I'm beating myself up mentally, psychologically, not focusing on myself the way that I need to your point, how can I show up for my household? How can I show up for my family? How can I show up at work? How can I show up and be my best self? And so where I think, like, JD, when you're kind of like saying selfish, I'd actually flip it on its head and say it's not necessarily selfish. I mean, it is in a way because you're focusing on self. But this idea that we do need to stop being hard on ourselves and we need to embrace better pathways, better outcomes, better thought process, better, don't beat yourself up because you're not where you're at. If you can acknowledge that you're focused to do better, be better, want to do better, doing better, putting in the action to do better, acknowledge that, because that is actually kind of some of the kindling and the energy that will help you continuously do it over and over and over, because it's like there's repetition in that. So
Right.
I don't know. It's interesting when you said that.
Right.
For me, it's all everything's illuminating right now.
And you know something else that just popped in my mind, if I was a preacher, I'd say this is a word for you coming up, right? So
Don't miss it. Don't miss
there's something coming. Don't miss it. Don't miss it.
Watch this.
And what my spirit is telling me in this moment is like, don't forget about the shadow, right? Because what you said that's just in part. Because we're always focusing on what's in the light, but sometimes what you need is in the dark.
Let me go ahead and pivot off you. Because for me, Black Man, homeboy check-in, I've been sitting in the shadow. I've been sitting in it.
Be more specific. What do you mean?
Against my will, I've been sitting in the shadow, and I can't be as specific as I want to be.
Sure, fair.
Because I want to be respectful to
The situation.
I like that.
I like the words. But I have been realigned to purpose in a sense of my role has always been assigned to the shadow. It's always been in the heart of the shadow because there's a light illuminated in me that cannot be dimmed, even if I want to dim it at times.
Yeah.
Even if I want to disappear, even if I want to cover it, if I want to blow it out, it don't go out. It continues to shine.
But you know why? Because you got to remember the object that's producing the light is also in the shadow.
Yeah, and that's the point. Like, and I have to like reference Jonah. As much as he wanted to like completely go left and be like, I'm out. I ain't got time for this. Creator. I don't like that. That's where I've been like over the last year and a half, 2 years. Not even knowing so until maybe the last 6 months. You know what I'm saying? And I've had to wrestle over the last month, like wrestle, bro, like with, I don't want to do this. Like, I ain't got time for this. I could be somewhere else. I could take my every blah, blah, blah and go and move it over here and be sitting pretty. And my creator has been like, nah, bro, I put you right where I want you. In discomfort and the shadow. And I've been sitting in the shadow, But I've been sitting in the shadow because light has to shine. Light has no choice but to shine. And the shadows that I've been having to face recently have only, it's funny, we walking into this space, literally, like the homeboy's been hanging out, my boy in town, you know what I'm saying? Welcome back today, my boy, for a few days, you and the wife, and shout out to moms. And yet my assignment has always been the shadow. And I haven't fully embraced it. I still haven't fully embraced it, but I understand the assignment.
Yeah.
So I've been sitting in the heart of it. It's uncomfortable. It keeps me up at night. It is stressful. It distracts from what I would rather be focused on, which is my family, my wife, my passions, my personal passions. My personal passions aside from my assignment, two different things. But my assignment leaves me as one of the few who is aware of the light and the shadow. Because I'm in that space, and because I am one of the few that are aware of the light and the shadow, that's why I'm sitting in the shadow. That's literally why I'm sitting in the shadow. And I'm gonna call him out because that's my dog. Shout out to my boy Sak Passe, Shamaz Joseph. We had a great conversation the other day, just random, but we reminded each other that it's not our own strength that keeps us back. Like we aren't enough to stay in that shadow space and like let the light glow. it is it's the grace of God that we sit there, and it's our purpose. It's why we were made. It's why we were crafted. You know, it doesn't mean that there's not something on the other side, because there is. But this positioning for me most recently has been challenging. But as of like maybe 2 weeks ago, I began to embrace it, and it doesn't mean that I'm gonna stay there, because I don't see that as the future. But I do feel a deeper connection to the purpose of the moment, and understanding, like, because I'm grounded, because I won't allow the implications of everything that's going on in our reality as Americans, our reality in Black life, our reality in sitting in environments and in communities that are underserved. Like, I want to allow all those things to distract me from my calling, because you can want to check out.
Yeah.
You can want to dip out. You can want to be like, I'm done. I don't have time for this. But I'm sitting there because I'm a voice that doesn't mind being used. And yeah, I'm here to speak when I hear that I need to speak. I'm here to lead and guide. I'm here to learn. I'm here to represent something that is above us, something that's beyond us, and that's the King. His name is Jesus. That's my King.
You know,
you have your King, and that's my King.
You know what, Marlon? And our King just told me to let you know that, yes, all what you said is true, but also remember that in the shadow, it's also about recovery. Because in the light, you got to remember, and light is about intensity as well. There's a lot of harshness that comes with it as well. So you sometimes have to go into the shadow to regenerate, to not have to put out as much, but to also be able to see the whole picture. Because now you're not blinded. You're not blinded by the light.
Step back. You can see the whole vantage point.
So there's another positive side to that darkness.
I'm with you on that.
So I just want to
Appreciate
make sure
that.
you knew that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No, man. I mean, and thank you for sharing that too, because I truly believe that's something that a lot of people deal with. And without you saying, I think people can figure out what you're talking about, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think, especially once we all, as Black men, hit a certain point in our lives, bro, but like things start to shift, right? Like, you know, mortality always comes into play. You start looking at your kids getting older. You look at your wife, you look at your parents. Everything just starts to put in perspective of like, man, I've been on this journey trying to like go. And then it hits you like nothing is final. And then you start thinking about, you know, we're all followers of Christ here. So we start thinking about like purpose and like, man, you know, you start hitting that conversation with yourself like, yo, am I fulfilling the purpose of why I'm here? And then you hit that Rolodex of like, yo, I could have did this better, I could have did that better, this and that. Then you get to the place to where you are and just like, yo, is this where I'm supposed to be in this moment? And you know, I'm my thought process typically goes to like, you're in the space that you're supposed to be in while you're in it. However, that doesn't mean that there's not a time to shift or a time to, you know, stay. But you're in that position because you're supposed to be in that position in this present moment, right? And 'cause even if we think about our lives, like we've all been in positions to where it didn't make sense at a certain point in time. But when you go back and think about it, oh damn, I needed that. That helped shift and shape who I am as a man today.
Right.
Like if I didn't go through those things at 24, 25, will I have this mindset at 41? You know what I'm saying? And so
Can I actually this is great. I love this conversation. I'm a very cerebral individual and I do a lot of thinking. And I think there's a lot to what you're saying and what has been discussed so far about introspection. And, you know, with this being the Black Men Think podcast, you know, whether it be us sitting in a barbershop, whether us being out at a bar, whether it be at a sporting event and we're interacting with men, you know, we can it seems that we naturally connect with each other and can open up very easily. But I'm also interested in what you all's perspectives are on the idea of how much more we need to be introspective as a collective, like as men, as black men,
Right.
and men in general, right? Like how important it is to have introspection, because like right now we're just sitting here on the couch kind of introspectively assessing and then unpacking that and then opening up and then talking about these things. But I think for me, what I have concern about, I don't know that this is what a lot of black men are doing.
Is this normal?
Yeah.
So
Is this?
it's to your point, Chris. It's not what we are doing because we have taught. This is not what we should be doing.
This is not what we saw either.
It's not what we saw, and that's great. We were, especially the five of us that's here now. We was raised by men that were silent, quiet. What they was going through, we never know.
Man,
Which is the
on a whole
opposite and the antithesis of what God wants us to do. God wants us to be the light, wants us to share, wants us to open up, right? And so, to your point, most black men that are probably our age and have parents our age don't see this and don't know this.
Yeah, it's foreign.
We didn't know this until we all got together and we
Right.
saw the shared experience,
Right.
and we created this show. And this show was birthed out of what we wanted.
Oh, the show was
to
birthed out 20 years plus of brotherhood.
Yep. And what
this
we wanted
was
to show
what we
the
were
people.
doing freshman
Correct.
year
Correct.
in the dorm.
Correct.
And we were like,
but we're
oh.
not normal. This
But
is
look,
not the norm.
Listen, we didn't get to check in on my boy C Wiz, but what did you see? And I'm gonna ask you at the same time, like check in, homeboy, check in, because I want to make sure you good
Yeah.
while we having this real conversation with black men. But like, what did you see? Like, what did you see coming up?
So yeah, this is deep. But I think just overall, just from my experience with older men that I know, I don't think they had we got each other. I don't think they have guys that they can lean on or depend on to have a conversation like this. And so, yeah, it's very different because I can think of peers my age, like they don't have friends that they can take a deep dive into a conversation like this. So this probably will open up for people when people see it, like, man, guys our age are actually having these conversations. But yeah, I don't think people are. And because like you say, we saw action. It wasn't a lot of emotions. It wasn't a lot of words. It was you just saw that person working hard, and they kind of like internalized a lot of stuff, and they held that stuff in, and that's how it's been. But I think now, especially with social media, and you starting to see other people talk about things that they didn't talk about in the early 90s or 90s, 80s, maybe not even the early 2000s. But now it's becoming a norm for people to have conversations like this.
So I want to pose a question, and I know we've been talking a lot. I want to pose a question to kind of close us, bring us to a close and bring us to a focus. Why is it that we as a community expect so much of the black man, but at the same time have the least respect for them? I know that's a lot to unpack right here.
I know you triggered. I know.
He just took off the pen and threw it.
You triggered.
But
Listen.
your boy is flowing right now.
So all right. So I don't want to take your words and reposition them because you said what you said and you mean what you said.
No, but please.
No. But I will only say, at least for me, here's what I will say to what I just heard. When I reflect on what you just said, I see black man, like a black man's existence in the Western society, America, right now, as one where in our community and in our households, we're the head. We are expected to be the head. We're expected to be the leader. We're expected to be a decision maker. In other environments, we're expected to be strong. Professional environments, we're expected to be decisive and instinctual, but we're also not expected to be aggressive. We're also not expected to be overbearing and overpowering.
Or emotional.
Like, which one is it? Which one is it?
Another environment, you're expected to be, let's just, for us as men of faith, we're expected to be sage. We're expected to be wise. We're expected to be led.
Temperament. Temperate. Like, we're supposed to be like.
But now, with all the things that I'm actually saying right now, at least to me.
Come on, bro.
I won't say they're all contradictive of each other, but
Now you get where I was trying to go.
This becomes a very interesting and challenging
Internal conflict.
thing to balance, because while some and all of these things might look to optimize one thing similarly, all of these things I said are different.
Yep.
And so then in one place where I'm expected to be one thing. So, look, I struggle with this. Like, I'm open about this, right? Like, I shout out to y'all for previous shows and us talking openly about therapy. Black men, get therapy.
Yes.
Get therapy. Find a therapist and get therapy. This is so necessary, period. And what's fascinating about that point is like, it is really hard to juggle and balance all of these things. And it is hard to be what you need to be in the moment at any given time,
right,
and almost go into an immediate different situation right after that and be something different. And look, I guess I know that there will be some people who will say, like, look, in ways, that's how a lot of people are expected to be. But I will just say that for me, it feels intense at times to be in a situation where if I'm like right now out with my wife and we're out in public and we're, I don't know, we're somewhere professional, or if we're at a restaurant, or if in an environment, and I then have to step in and add a little bit of heft to the situation because something's kind of going awry, that then at the same time in the car ride home, if there is some emotion that's being expressed, I have to be a little softer. And I need to be a little more mindful of that. However, then later that day when I get on my work call,
You have to be
I need to be decisive, but I also can't be aggressive. Because when I'm aggressive, then that comes off as like, ooh.
My problem is the fact that something went awry at the first scenario, because typically it does. Like, typically there's a side comment, there's a connotation of, I understand you guys, and I'm going to say something because I'm comfortable, but it's going to make you uncomfortable as a black man.
Yeah.
And we have a decision to make in those moments where we can either like, let me go ahead and lay ground for the next Juneteenth, and let everybody know like the decorum that they should have in these moments, or like, let me play the moment and let me like fall back because I don't want to cause a scene, and nor do I want to stamp however far of a spectrum that I will stamp if I react. And this is where I say, like, as a black man, guys, like, fellas, like, I'm like, y'all, I know y'all are listening, man. Like we with you, bro. Like we understand how hard it is to walk in your skin every single day. Because you don't know what you're gonna face. You don't know whether or not you're going to walk into your place of work, your place of influence, whatever that looks like for you on a day-to-day basis, and you're going to be judged because of your skin color, because you are already seen as inferior, yet you have more skill than probably what you can even show, right? Like, you're probably not even comfortable showing all your skills because they're going to discount where you got it from. They're going to discount how valid it is, and then they're going to diminish it because you don't have the title that you deserve.
You know what, Marlon? You just spoke something, and something that resonated in me. I'm going to throw it out here. And guys, I have not talked about this with them, but what I am feeling in me right now is that next August we need to do a Black Man Think seminar or some type of thing like that nature, and bring guys together to where we can talk in person and not just people watching videos, and really make that connection point and really talk about what it's like to be a Black man, because me and Chris know it's only going to get harder over the next 3 years.
We speaking about it before we started recording.
We spoke about it before we start recording.
Yeah.
And this is not hyperbole or anything of that nature. But this is going to be a time to where we, as the Black Man Think podcast, can pour into people off of our experience.
Oh yeah, give an outlet.
And give an outlet
To hear.
for you guys to hear, learn,
outlet
and maybe help.
A back and forth.
We're not saying we're going to have the answers to everything, but I think we can have at least to be some type of relief. And I think we really need to think about that over next year sometime.
Yeah.
And that's just me spitting.
I acknowledge the call.
No,
Because truth be told, man, it's. I mean, I know guys outside of us, and they don't have like
They don't
have people to
Ain't got that.
lean on, man. So like,
Oh, the data already shows this.
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah, they don't have it, man.
There's data right now that actually talks about the pandemic of loneliness amongst men.
Right.
This
Yes.
is beyond getting into like racial stratification.
Yeah.
Like men are increasingly becoming more lonely, more isolated. They're finding kind of like less outlet.
And Black men are the most lonely out of all of us.
So
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, this is a phenomenon that like has been identified from social scientists, researchers, the whole nine.
Yeah. I mean, I know that from experience, man. They just don't have people to lean on, like their peers. People that they personally know that I can go to and be open about how they feel emotionally, physically, and all that other stuff.
Yep.
Now, this is the part that I want to say. I don't want to necessarily, we don't got to go too far. Y'all tell me, we can dive into any other conversation. But I will say what is interesting, though, about what you just said is how many of us are willing to be vulnerable enough to open up, though.
Another side.
Because see, that's the other side of the equation, right? So, like, reflect on whether maybe my fathers, my grandfathers, my uncles, these kinds of men, these older generation that
We didn't see that model.
I was just saying, you know what? 20-year-old Tory wouldn't have been.
So
No.
let me ask.
That's the question, right? Like,
Let me ask this question real quick, because I heard Corey say something earlier about fathers, and then even Chris, you just said grandfathers. How many of y'all fathers do y'all know y'all father's friend?
I do.
Let me answer that first. My father, pastor, right? My father has been a pastor since I walked into this earth, or at least in ministry. And then maybe like 4 or 5 years into my life, I literally remember as a baby or a kid, a very young kid, when he moved into a pastoral role and has been sitting in that role since. This is the picture. I know my dad has had one real friend his entire life. He has never known anything remotely close to this outside of
I'm gonna make a little joke here. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's a little bit of levity.
Yeah.
All his friends watching the Black Man Think podcast, like, am I that one? You just kind of playing jokes. But you just said, look, he only got one friend. Figure it out. Who you are.
Bro, like outside of a brother that was like best friend, like, because shout out to Unc, you know who you are. But outside of the family,
Same with me. One.
boom,
One. I mean, outside
One.
of brothers. Outside of brothers.
one. This is not normal.
Same with me. Outside of my uncle, yeah, my
See,
uncle.
I'm gonna be that, but I'm gonna be that guy, right? Like I already just said this, and it's some of these things. I think sometimes it's fascinating because like we think these things are like, we're like, wow, it's just one, and like I think about my dad, who's no longer living, and it was in a delta of a small number. So it might not have been one, but similar in ministry. So you kind of like reflect on that and like, I definitely, and it was a small number. The research, again, the social science says most men over 40 get into the delta of 1 to 3 friends.
Yep, you're right.
So
why is that?
The reality beyond the fact that that's the fact in the case with our
because we're an anomaly, actually.
That is
we're
actually
sure
what it is anyway.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Actually, I like, it is what it is, right? Like, I've recently talked to my therapist about this, and they were saying there's a lot of reasons for it.
Right.
One of the main reasons, because we are already intolerant of many things, because we are meant to be decisive, we're meant to be these individuals. Man, I keep knocking this microphone. These individuals who make these decisions, are certain of ourselves, have an environment that's controlled, kind of like are preserving in that way. That's part of what it is, because it's like, okay, I'm reducing my exposure, right? Like subconsciously.
No, that's
so
huge.
once again, right? Like,
That's huge.
We don't got to get really specific.
Reducing
we know each other. We've known each other since college, right? Undergrad. And think about, at any given time, the number of homies that have been around, and the number of individuals that kind of like, and there's been like an expansion, then there's been a contraction, there's been a 1, 2, 5, but then there's still just the 7.
Yeah.
Right? At any given time, even within our own 7, there's like
There's branches.
couple of us, like, I'm deep in work, ain't spoke. Tori's doing his thing. Everybody's doing it. Brian's out there, West Coast.
Yep.
All the things. We got the moment, the sonic, However, 7. And so just using that as a example, it showcases that notion of we control. At this point, I know what Tori's about. I know what JD's about. I know what Marlon's about. I know what Tom's about. I know what Brian's about. I know what Corey's about. I can't really afford to like all this extra.
You can't go beyond that. It's a very small.
And that's just just
real.
regular.
Yeah.
So then, as you get older, when you very acutely know there
Time
are
is
real
money.
costs.
Time
is money. There are real messing my situation
No.
up. You then start to just say, you know what?
But
I know JD.
but even the
I know what
mindset.
JD ain't gonna do. And I know how
But
he gonna
listen,
mess my situation up.
but
So I
even-
just only hang with JD.
Even the mindset from that comes from something that birthed earlier than that. Like, there are versions of us that have a completely different perspective on life and motive on life. Let's not get it twisted. We saw versions of this at Georgia State.
Yeah.
Those versions went different trajectories.
Yeah. True.
This was different
Yep.
because we all understood the calling. We all understood like the special moment that this brotherhood brought together. We all were linked, first of all, with values, right? Like, I think that was important. Like, there was a foundation that we did not ignore. Our parents have met each other. We recognized it early.
Bro, we found that website, man. We ain't gotta get specific.
Bro.
We found that website, and then we had
Listen.
two of our dearly departed
fathers,
sitting in the. I was
Together.
like, that took me to a place.
Bro.
But the one thing I want to say, and I don't think I've ever said it to you two. Your dad, me and your dad had a great relationship as well. Your dad, especially, though. My wife said that the first time she saw me cry was at your dad's funeral, and the reason why, because you know how close me and your dad was. Like, your dad really poured into me, and your dad really meant a lot to me. And I looked at your dad as another dad from my dad. And so that really hit me hard. But the same thing with your father as well, Marlon, because I've been to your house. Your two fathers have poured into me a lot to where I look at them and I could say, you know what? If my dad, God forbid, had passed today, I know that your dad would step in and still be a father figure for me.
There's a spiritual connection that you speak to.
Yeah.
That I think we, God willing, like we had the opportunity to connect as brothers.
I agree.
There's a lot of brothers out here that don't have that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
They don't have a foundational point or a foundational person that they can return to say like, bro, like I'm lost out here, like I need a guide. And I think as black men, more than ever, like we need a foundational connection. And listen, there's a whole lot of versions of that out there.
Yeah.
Like it's folk out here lighting candles. There's folk out here lighting sage,
Crystals.
Or are they just trying to live their life through social media?
Listen, it's folk out here telling you like listen, you gotta project who you need to be. It's folk out here saying manifest it. It's folk out here saying like go ahead and pull up and smash this one because you're gonna feel all the vibes from that one. And you gonna be listen, bro.
They're saying that now.
Oh, it's all of it. It's all of it. And all I'm saying is, unless you got something that's gonna last beyond all the factors, because you gotta have something foundation. When you got foundation, it can't be. It's got to be unbreakable.
Yeah.
And I think what was special about this unit right here was our foundation was unbreakable because it was spiritual. And it was spiritual because it was founded on faith. It was founded on a concrete belief in something, right? That we all connected with, that we came from something that connected with it, and we decided as a unit that we would embody it, and we would carry it forward, and we would hold each other accountable to it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the big piece right there.
And you know what? To your point, Marlon, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. Studies show that statistically speaking, most people will only have truly 3 to 4 friends. Those that are actually lucky might have up to about 7 to 10. So if you look at it, it's really going to be 10 people in your life. And this is outside of like wife and things of that nature that you're really close with.
And so the question would be, who are your 10?
Who are your 10? That's what I was
And I need you to assess your 10. Like, go write the list. Go, black men, this is for you today. Like, write the list. Who are your top 10? We talk about top 10s all the time. It's NBA, who the GOATs. We can make those lists like that, right? You know, who are your top 10? And
Actually, I appreciate it that you just said that. I appreciate that. I just had to say that.
Tell me why.
No, just because, like, I mean, my wife, like, I often reflect about how culture has permeated our culture. So it really only translates for a lot of us if you do a NBA top 10. Name your GOAT right now.
Who's
is it
your
MJ?
GOAT, bro?
Is it Kobe? Is it LeBron?
Who's your Kobe?
Is it Steph? Is it KD?
It's Kobe for me.
Kobe, oh yeah.
It's Kobe all day.
24, 824, all that.
Who is it?
However,
LeBron.
no. I'm truly saying that. I'm saying that from a place. From a place of like I already was locked in.
Yeah.
Psychologically, that snapped me into an immediate place of almost understanding completely what you were talking about because you went there. Yep. And I say I have this conversation a lot with friends and my wife of like, I have always found it fascinating because that is so important to us. So the culture of it all is really important to us. So when it's like, I mean, I was at the Beyonce concert in London with the cowboy fit. Why?
Yeah, because
the cowboy is the wave right now.
It's the wave.
We were cowboys.
Right. You had the boots on?
Boots on.
The Gucci boots?
Fam. I had the Louis.
Shabuzi.
Hey, long as your cheeks
Show me the Louis boots.
Shabuzi.
Shout out to Pharrell.
LV, send me the Louis boots. Cause you know you ain't gonna get some.
I know.
LV.
As long as your cheeks were covered, because I saw pictures. I'm like, bro, like for real.
Nah, you crazy for that.
You gotta take it to the
I'm just saying.
Hold on. Go ahead.
We gotta close this out, right? Yeah. Listen. Listen, you got to go. You can name your top 10.
Buns out, buns out.
You can name. No, please don't. You don't catch the real. But before you go there, listen. Before you go there,
Nah, fam, we ain't on that.
if you don't have, you got your top 10 NBA.
Yeah.
You got your top 10 NFL. You can name your top 10 running backs. You can name your top 10 whatever it is.
Name your top 10 friends.
Name your top 10 people.
Yep. Got to.
Name them, and then understand why they're your top 10. And value whatever that is, because you name them for a reason.
Yep.
They are a support system to you. Use them, because 9 times out of 10, here's the problem with black men. You probably only talk to the top 3 regularly. You need the top 10.
Yep.
The top 10 will change your life.
Yep.
Whatever you are facing, whatever you're dealing with, you need your top 10. Okay? We have been blessed and privileged to have a top 7. But there are at least 2 to 3 other people in our lives that matter the most. You need 10 as a black man in this world today.
Yep.
So don't discount that. Find your top 10, know why you value every single one of them, and dive deeper into those relationships, because they're going to save your life.
That's a bar.
And
Look,
before,
man.
and JD, before you close out,
Yeah.
guys, once again, like I did last episode, we're trying to grow this network. Please send this to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, however many people you want to send it to, because we're trying to grow this. We want to really make this a platform that black men really can think and really express themselves. But the only way we can do that and eventually get to doing this full time is if you send this to other people to grow this network. So this is me just really asking you guys, if y'all really want to support this, and if y'all really believe in what we're doing, if you really want to see this on a more consistent basis, because we all have jobs. If you want us to focus on this, we need y'all to send this to as many people as possible so we can grow this. Share this.
That's it. I mean, he said what I was gonna say. Black Man Think podcast, where we elevate our black man, because black man be out here thinking. Go to Patreon, because we going to Patreon right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk some more talk. So y'all go. We actually this is a call. What Tori said, don't do that. But also, if you're already watching that means you're already on board. Join Patreon.
Yes.
It's a free trial. You can get it for 7 days, and if you like the content, keep going.
We need those subscriptions. If y'all want to keep this permanently and really have this weekly, go to Patreon, subscribe today, like JD been saying.
Yeah, go to Patreon right now, because that's what we're going. We're going to talk about what Corey talking about, cheeks out. I don't know.
Cheeks out, streets out.
They had a whole side.
I don't know.
Man,
All right, man. We'll see y'all.
Hey,
man, none of that. Hey, look, I respect it. That won't be though. Is what I'm saying.
Hey, do your thing, man.
The Black Men Think Podcast.